video, I am walking you through how to do extended lateral. I have to be completely upfront that extended lateral is not for the faint-hearted. It is one of the most difficult posture exercises that there is, in my opinion, but maybe I'm just biased because I'm not very good at it. You are going to need a wide stretch of wall or sort of window space or something like that. The wall is going to really help us not to cheat through our pelvis. I apologise for my light today. Beautiful day, sun streaming in. It looks very artistic, but it doesn't mean that it's the clearest video. So I apologise for that, but hopefully it's still good enough for you to be able to see what's going on. So we're going to do this to start with, or at least I'm going to do this to start with, by coming to my left-hand side. So this exercise is, if you know yoga, it's like an extended side angle in yoga. So we're sort of in our warrior two position, and then we twist sideways like that. However, what happens most of the time when people are doing a warrior two position in yoga, they are twisting their pelvis. So most people are not actually opening their hips up like they are supposed to in a warrior two. They are actually just twisting their pelvis like this, okay? So that's not your hips opening, that's your pelvis and your lumbar spine compensating. Probably put a bit too much strain on the knees as well. And this is where the wall is really helpful, because the wall is going to enable us to really focus on what our hips are doing without getting too waylaid or distracted by how far down we are coming. How far down we come here does not matter as much as what our hips and pelvis are doing, okay? All to be revealed. So with my right foot, I am keeping my right foot angled inwards slightly into the direction that I'm going. So I don't want this foot facing the opposite way. We don't want it facing straight ahead. It's going to be slightly angled inwards at a bit of a pigeon toe position. I have got my right ankle and my right calf and my right butt cheek at the wall. I'm going to step my left foot away. My left foot is not touching the wall, so my left foot is following the line of one of my floorboards, and it's about 6 inches away from the wall. How close this leg gets to the wall is going to be dependent on how much your hips can externally rotate and extend and abduct. So it's basically about hip function here is our real test. We're going to slide the leg a little bit forward, and how far down you come is going to be completely dependent on what your pelvis and your hips are telling you. So if I take my knee further forwards, I have a sense that my right hip is going to start coming away from the wall like this, and I don't want that. My priority here is keeping my butt cheeks at the wall, because this is keeping the pelvis balanced whilst the hips are asked to rotate. That is key. So nothing else in this exercise matters as much as is your pelvis balanced against the wall. So that's your priority. If that means coming up higher and doing this in a much more like restrained way perhaps than you want to, great, you're doing it properly. What I'm going to do next is bend into my left knee, but once again watching that that right hip doesn't swing away from the wall. So I'm bending into the knee, and I'm probably not going to go too much further than that, especially because I've got lots more talking to do and I don't want to get myself too tired. As I bend into this knee, I notice how my left knee wants to roll and fall in towards the kind of direction of my big toe joint. So what I'm going to do is bring myself back up. I'm going to roll that knee open and really use my quad, my thigh muscle, and my glute on that left leg to peel the left knee open, really driving it towards the fifth toe edge of my right foot. And then I'm going to bend into it again, being more careful, making sure that that left knee does not draw inwards. So by tracking that left knee out towards the outside edge of my foot, by keeping this right hip against the wall, we are really peeling open tension through the hips. My toes stay relaxed, but I drill down into the big toe joint. There's going to feel like a oppositional force going on here through what your foot is doing and what your knee is doing. So if you overly focus on your foot and don't focus on the knee, excuse me, you're going to push into your big toe joint too much and the knee will draw in. Or conversely, if you focus too much on the knee, you might lift up your big toe joint. So you're trying to find this sweet spot where the toe stays down, the big toe is grounded, the knee is pulling out using the quad and using the glutes. And if you need to come up higher, that is absolutely fine. Remember, this right hip must not come away from the wall. Next part of the exercise, we've got our lower body in place. And you can see here that I'm really not that wide as I do it. My right hip really wants to pull away. So I'm watching my ego, because in my yoga classes, I definitely go wider than this, but there's definitely a lot more cheating going on, I'm sure. As soon as I pulled my right hip back then, by the way, I'm getting all sorts of like cramping and wobbling happen in that left hip, which is great. My palms are coming out at shoulder height, and I'm rolling my shoulders back and down behind me. So I don't want your arms coming up, meaning that your shoulders are also coming up. If you want to, you can have your arms a lot lower. That doesn't really matter, but that's sort of where you're aiming for eventually. And then we're not going to be swishing our arms around like this. We're keeping our arms like locked and still. We're going to twist from our rib cage down towards the side like this and hold. If it's comfortable to do so, we're going to twist our our head up towards our right arm like this. So nothing changes in that lower body. Everything I said before still applies. That right hip pulls back, the left knee pulls open, both big toe joints ground down. We must breathe with a relaxed jaw in and out of our nose into our lower rib cage. Doesn't matter how far you twist, you've got to think about those hips and pelvises, and we're not taking the arms too far. The arms are staying wherever they were before. It's the rib cage twisting. And you would normally breathe into this, starting probably with about 30 seconds, but potentially moving up to about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. I'm going to bring myself up and walk you through that on the other side. Capture my breath back. I told you I found it hard, and we'll do it all over again just to run through the cues. So this time I'm going to be opening up towards the right hand side. My left ankle, calf and butt cheek is all against the wall. The left foot comes in slightly pigeon-toed, sliding my right foot away, lining up the middle of my second and my third toes through the center of my right foot, through the center of the ankle, really pulling backwards through that left hip so that both butt cheeks are against the wall. I'm bending into this knee, and I'm finding a position where the butt cheeks are at the wall, the knee is opening up. I'm using my quad, I'm using my glute to peel open that knee. I'm not trying to go too hard or too far into it, keeping the big toe joints pinned, really trying to peel open that right knee without the left hip coming away from the wall. Arms out to the side like so. I'll bend into it a little bit more. I've got a little bit more space there before the butt cheek wants to come away. My arms are not leading this. The arms stay still. The rib cage takes me to the side. My head twists up to the ceiling. I breathe into this. My shoulders are away from my ears. My right knee is peeling open. I'm not letting it come in. The left butt cheek stays at the wall. And you would breathe into this, and over time, provided that hip is not moving away from the wall, over time, you might start looking more like this type of thing. So you'll be able to go wider through your legs and further with that side body, but there are lots of other things to think about. So keep that distance nice and short in between your legs to start with. Focus on the pelvis, focus on rolling this knee out to really get it externally rotating. And don't go further than your breathing allows you to. Remember, calm, steady, diaphragmatic, nasal breathing is the second most important thing behind making sure that you don't aggravate any symptoms of your pain when you do a posture exercise.